Welcome to Edusphere Academy. So in today's class, we'll be dealing with questions on integration by substitution. So here are the questions we'll be dealing with. So let's start from number one. So for number one, we are given integral of 3x plus 4 raised to power 10 dx. Alright, so we already know from our idea, from our previous video, I already thought about integration by substitution and the idea behind it. So I feel that, and if you have not watched the video, you can go back. I'll drop the link in the description and you can watch the video. So let's start this. So we have what? Number one to what? The integral of 3x plus 4 raised to power 10 dx. Alright, for a question like this, the first thing we're going to do is that what? You say that what? Let u to be equal to what? 3x plus 4. Alright, 3x plus 4. So if your u is equal to 3x plus 4, you can therefore say that what? The u over the s to be equal to what? To be equal to 3, from our idea that we know from our previous video. Alright, so now the main aim we want to do here is that we want to substitute the x to be equal to in the form of what? The u. So the only thing we can do here is that we should say that what? The u should be equal to what? 3 the x when we cross multiply. So but from our idea of integration by substitution, we know that we want to get what is outside the bracket to be in the form of our what? Our du. But here we have only the x to be outside the bracket. Right? So if only the x is outside the bracket, that means we can bring out the x. So we can say that what? The x, we can divide both side by 3 here. So now the x is equal to what? The u over 3. So now the x, we can represent the x as what? The u over 3. So that's it. So we can move on and go back to our question and say that the integral of 3x plus 4 raised to power 10 dx is now written in the form of the u, and it is now written in the form of u in the case whereby we have what? The integral of u raised to power 10, then dx is now what? We have the integral of u raised to power 10, then dx, we have what? The u over 3. Alright, the u over 3. But from our basic knowledge of integration, we know that we can factor out the what? The constants in this case also. So we can have what? 1 over 3, the integral of what? U raised to power 10 the u. Alright, so now we now want to integrate u raised to power 10 du. That would what? 1 over 3 open bracket u raised to power 10 plus 1 over what? Over 10 plus 1, then plus c, which is our constant of integration. Right? So now we can move on and say that what? We have what here? 1 over 3, then bracket we have what? U raised to power 11 over 11 plus c, which is now equals to what? We can multiply by the constant in this case now and say that what? U raised to power 11 over what? Over 33 plus c. Now, you know we represented our u using what? 3x plus 4. We can now bring that back and say that what? 3x plus 4 raised to power what? 11 over what? Over 33 plus c to be our final answer for this question. So question 2 on integration by substitution. So we have what? Our question 2 to be the integral of 3x minus 5 then raised to power 2 over 3 dx. Applying the same method we applied, so we are going to say that let u to be equal to what? 3x minus 5. So if our u is equal to 3x minus 5, then we can say the u over the x to be equal to what? Equals to 3. Alright, so if the u over the x is equal to 3, we can cross multiply and have what? The u to be equal to 3 dx. Right, so now we can represent the x using what? The u over 3 if we divide both sides by what? By 3. Alright, so moving on, we've represented the x to be in the form of what? The u. Now we can go back to our question and say the integral of 3x minus 5 raised to power 2 over 3 dx is now equal to what? The integral of u raised to power 2 over 3, then dx is now represented using what? The u over 3. Alright, so now we can factor out the constant here also and say that what? 1 over 3 integral of what? U raised to power 2 over 3 du. Alright, so now we can integrate 2 over 3, u raised to power 2 over 3. So we are going to have 1 over 3 open brackets u raised to power 2 over 3 plus 1 over what? 2 over 3 plus 1. So then plus c. So moving on, we have what? 2 over 3 plus 1. 1 over 3 open brackets. 2 over 3 plus 1 will give us what? That should be 5 over 3. That should be 5 over 3. So that will be u raised to power 5 over 3 over what? 5 over 3. Right? Then we have what? Plus c. So now, what we want to do here is that we want to multiply the numerator by the numerator and also the denominator by the what? By the denominator. So in this case now, if we multiply 3 by 3, by 5 over 3, the 3 will cancel what? The 3 that is here. Alright? So we have what? U raised to power 5 over 3 over what? Over 5 plus c. Alright? Over 5 plus c. So now we are going to have what? Our u is what? 3x minus 5. That will be 3x minus 5 r raised to power 5 over 3 over 5 plus c to be our final answer. Alright, so for question 3, now we have what? Question 3 to be the integral of x squared, then root x raised to power 3 plus 5, alright, then dx. Alright, so using our normal integration by substitution method, we are going to say that what? Let u to be equal to what is in the bracket. In this case, we know that anything that has root is still the same thing as saying what? 1 over 3. Raised to power 1 over 2. So what I'm saying is that this x raised to power 3 plus 5 is still written as what? X raised to power 3 plus 5 raised to power 1 over 2. Alright, so we can simply say that what? Here's what we have as what is inside the bracket. We have what? X raised to power 3 plus 5. So if u is equal to this, du over ds will now be equal to what? That will be 3x raised to power 2. Alright, 3x raised to power 2. Now we have what? Du to be equal to what? 3x raised to power 2 dx. Now notice something. The main aim of this step in integration by substitution is that we should represent the u as what we have outside the bracket, which is this is what's inside the bracket. Alright, we want to represent the u to be in this form, x squared and dx. Alright, so now we can simply say that what? We can divide both sides by what? By 3. So now x squared dx is now represented using what? The u over 3. The u over 3. So now we've represented what is outside the brackets as what? The u over 3 in this case. Now we can go back to our question and say that what? The integral of x squared root of x cubed plus 5 dx to be equal to what? The integral of what? Now we can write it as what? U, you can say root u, then we have what? The u over 3. Alright, root u, the u over 3, which is still equals to what? 1 over 3. Okay, 1 over 3 integral of what? U raised to power 1 over 2. Then we have what? The u. Alright. So now the next step is to do what? Integrate u raised to power 1 over 2. Now if we integrate this, we are going to have what? 1 over 3, which is still our constant, to be outside. Alright. Now we have what? U raised to power 1 over 2 will change to what? U raised to power 1 over 2 plus 1 over what? 1 over 2 plus 1. Then plus what? Plus c. Alright. So now we have what? 1 over 3 in bracket u raised to power 1 over 2 plus 1 will give us what? 3 over 2. 3 over 2 over 3 over 2. Then we have what? Plus c. In this case now we want to multiply the denominator by denominator, numerator by numerator. But in this case, if we multiply 3 times 3 over 2, we are still going to have what? 9 over 2. Alright, so to save us from that stress, we can simply say that what? We can change this using our indices. This 3 over 2 now, the 2 will come up to the numerator. Now the 3 will stay in the what? The denominator. Alright, we are going to say that what? 2u raised to power 3 over 2 over 3 plus c. Alright, so in this case we now have what? We can multiply the numerator by the numerator and denominator by the denominator. We have what? 2u raised to power what? 3 over 2 over 9 plus what? Plus c. And we can simply write our final answer to be in the form of what? 2 over 9. Then what is our u? Our u is what? X raised to power 3 plus 5 all raised to power what? All raised to power 3 over 2 then plus c to be our final answer. Alright, on question 4, we have what? Question 4 to be what? The integral of x plus 1 over what? X squared plus 2x plus 6 then dx. Alright, dx. So in this case now we have division. We have our integration by substitution to be division. Just know that the first thing we are still going to do is what? Let u to be equals to what? The denominator. X raised to power 2 plus 2x plus 6. Alright, so if you say that u should be your denominator, now we can simply say that what? The u over the s to be what? 2x plus what? Plus 2. Alright, 2x plus 2. So we can now say that what? Our du should now be what? 2x plus 2 then dx. 2x plus 2 dx. But in this case now we want to represent what? The u as the numerator. So how can we bring x plus 1 from 2x plus 2? We can simply say that what? The u should be equals to what? 2 open bracket what? X plus 1 dx. Alright, so we want to isolate, we want to only bring x plus 1 dx. So we can simply say that what? Divide both sides by what? 2 by 2. Now x plus 1 dx is now equals to what? Du over 2. Alright, it's now equals to du over 2. So we've represented this numerator as what? As the form of du. Alright, so we can move on and say that what? The integral, alright, the integral of x plus 1 over x squared plus 2x plus 6 dx to be equals to what? To be equals to, we now have what? Our x plus 1 is now in the form of what? The u over 2. So we can simply say that what? The integral of 1 over u times what? The u over 2. Right? Where 1 over u is simply saying that what? 1 over x squared plus 2x plus 6. Then the u over 2, which is represented as what? The x plus 1 dx is now the u over 2. So we can factor out the constant in this case and say that what? 1 over 2 integral of what? The u over what? Over u. Right? The u over u. Yes, are we on track? The u over u. Now, we have what? 1 over 2. When we have something like this, it's simply saying that what? Ln u. The integration of the u over u is what? Ln u. Then plus what? Plus c. Alright? Ln u plus c. So we now have what? Our answer to what? 1 over 2 ln, what is our u? X squared plus 2x plus 6. Alright? X squared plus 2x plus 6. Then we have what? Plus c. So plus c. Now we can say that what? We can say that up to this extent, this should be our final answer. Alright, we can say that this should be our final answer. So we are done with question 4. Let's move to question 5. Alright, for question 5, we have what? 3x squared. The integral of what? 3x squared, then exponential raised to power what? X raised to power 3. Then we have what? The x. So also we are still following the same step. We are saying that what? But in this case, we can let our u to be what? Our exponent of e. When I say exponent of e, I mean what? Let u to be equal to what? X raised to power 3 in this case. So if u is equal to x raised to power 3, the u over the x, the u over the x is now equal to what? 3x raised to power what? Raised to power 2. Right? So we can now say that what? Our du is now equal to what? 3x raised to power 2 dx. So now, therefore, we've represented the u as what is outside this exponential raised to power x raised to power 3. Alright? So we can move on and say that what? The integral of 3x raised to power 2 exponential raised to power x raised to power 3 dx is now equals to what? The integral of what? Now our exponential raised to power 3 is what? Exponential raised to power u, then what? Du. Exponential raised to power u du. So in this case, we know when we integrate exponential, it is still what? The same thing. So it's still what? Exponential raised to power u plus c, where our exponential raised to power u is now what? Our u is what? X raised to power 3 plus c to be our final answer for question 5. All right. For question 6, we have what? The integral of 3 exponential raised to power x over 1 minus 2 exponential raised to power x dx. All right. So in this case also, we are still following the same step. We can say that what? Let our u to be equals to what? 1 minus 2 exponential raised to power x. So if u is equals to this, therefore du over the x will now be equals to what? It will be equals to minus 2 exponential raised to power x. All right. Now du will now be equals to what? Minus 2 exponential raised to power x, then what? Dx, if we cross multiply. All right. So we've represented du to be this, we've represented u to be this. So what's the next thing? We can rewrite from our question that the integral of 3 exponential raised to power x dx over 1 minus 2 exponential raised to power x to still be written as what? The integral of what? 3 over 1 minus 2 exponential raised to power x, then multiply by what? Multiply by exponential raised to power x dx. All right. So we can still break it down to this form. So if we break it down to this form, we can now therefore say that what? Okay, from here, we can go on from here and get what? The u. We can get the u. We are getting exponential raised to power x dx only. So therefore, we cannot express the u to be equals to minus 2 exponential raised to power x dx. Because of what? We want to expand the u in the form of what? Only exponential raised to power x dx. So from here we can simply say that what? You can simply say that we have what? The u is equals to minus 2 exponential raised to power x dx to be equals to what? All right. So if we go on, we can say that I'll divide by what? Minus 2. All right. Divide this one by what? Minus 2. So therefore, exponential raised to power x dx is now written in form of what? Minus du over 2. All right. So we can go on. We've represented this as minus du over 2, and we can represent this as what? 3 over u. So we can bring this out and say that what? The integral of what? 3 over u multiplied by what? Minus the u over 2. All right. So we can factor out the constant we have there. So we can say that what is equals to 3 multiplied by minus 1 over 2, the integral, 1 over 2, integral of what? What do we have left? 1 over u. All right. So 1 over u, which is still equals to what? Okay, 1 over u du. All right. So we can move on and say that this is what? Minus 3 over 2, right? The integral of what? 1 over u du. Now, when we integrate 1 over u du, that's what? Ln u. All right. Ln u plus c. All right, which is our constant of integration. So we can move on and say that our final answer to what? Minus 3 over 2 ln, what's our u from here? Ln 1 minus 2 exponential raised to power x plus c. All right. So this will be our what? Our final answer up to this extent. So therefore, we've been able to solve 6 questions on integration by substitution. Now we are going to move on and solve more questions on integration by substitution in our next video. Please do well to like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts on the video. Thank you.